Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On Christmas Eve, welcome to the late special edition of Fitness with Phil. However, this isn't a fitness video. This is a hydrogen video. So welcome to Fitness with Phil about hydrogen. I'm your host, Phil. Okay, so something we often think about is hydrogen. Some people say hydrogen's silly. Some people say it's the way of the future. But, I'd have to say, why would you, go to all the hassle of producing hydrogen, storing hydrogen, and then putting it in a car, and then running a car off hydrogen? At the end of the day, all you're doing is running a electric motor that you could have been doing with a battery in the first place. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, let's take a deep dive into this. Let's take a deep dive into this. Okay, all right. The first thing I'd like to point out is hydrogen is a storage mechanism for energy. Is a storage mechanism for energy, but is not a source of energy. It's a storage mechanism for energy. It is not a storage of energy. So there you go. So that's why. Right. Okay. So anyway, so then we have to find a way to go and get this hydrogen. Okay. So it's not just, you don't just pluck it out of the air. You have to separate water molecules. You have to separate hydrogen from the oxygen. You have to store the hydrogen. You have to dump the oxygen, and then also then you have to store it under very high pressure, extremely high pressure. Okay, or liquefy it to store it. If you have any H2O, electrolysis is extremely inefficient process. So why wouldn't you just take a? People often ask me, you would ask me, why wouldn't you just put a solar panel? Why wouldn't you just bloody well wire a solar panel up to a battery? And I'd say, well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Or you could you go through the electrolysis process to create hydrogen, but it's going to take 50% more energy to do that. It's just 50% more inefficient. So it's just terrible. Honestly, hydrogen in its dense form is very, very, does hold a lot more energy than you'll get in a battery. But when you look at the pure economics, and also let's look at some other. Why would you replace the internal? Well, at the moment, the internal combustion engine runs off petrol and diesel. Why would you replace those petrol stations with hydrogen stations? You're just replacing. You're not really moving forward. You're just changing one thing for another thing. It's got to be compressed or liquefied, and then put into your car, and then run through a system, a fuel cell system that then runs an electric motor when you can just do it off a battery. A very dense. It's also a very pernicious molecule. Hydrogen is a very pernicious molecule. It's all over the place, and so when it leaks, you don't even know you may not even know it's leaking. It's invisible. It could be leaking. You may not know. When it's on fire, it's still invisible. It's a bomb, and it's a very dangerous element to be mucking around with, and driving around the countryside in trucks full of hydrogen, and it's stupid, isn't it? So that's what I'm saying. But however, I have heard some people argue to the contrary, sound very convincing as well, but however, it's incredibly dumb. So why not pick methane? Why not just pick methane or butane? Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I read all your comments.